Greetings and welcome to Soulful Conversations with Queen Elisa and Queen Orlis, the podcast where we discuss the important issues that affect our daily lives, mind, body, and soul. Today, we have a very special guest with us. He is the author of several books, but today he's here to talk about his book, Knowledge of the Hebrew Letters for Children and Adults, his inspiration, his writing process, and more. Please welcome to the show our brother, King Yabez Ben Yahweh. Welcome, King Yabez.
Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah. All glory and praises to the creator YAHWEH'S and his most humble son YAHWEH'S bet known Sophie. To our family for welcoming.
Praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh. Yeah, I was taking myself off on mute. Sorry, I was talking, but I was on mute. But praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh. I'm so excited to speak with you today, King Yabez. I know that I purchased this one, the book that we're talking about today, The Knowledge of the Hebrew Letters, and that my daughter, myself, like it's so much information and so much power in it. You know, it's great for the whole family. And I know that you've written several other books, correct? So I know if we could just get a little bit about what those other books are, like the titles, not everything about the book, but just so we can know, at least, or even how many other books you've written, because this one was amazing. I loved it.
Oh, praise Yahweh. Yes, I have written several other books that's coming real soon once we get them in production. Other ones is entitled The 144,000 Revealed. And, I don't want to go in depth to it right now, but the other ones are A Living Sacrifice and Seal the Book. And also I'm in the process right now, which is already written, but I'm waiting on it to get it typed up and everything. It's another one called is dealing with the Ark of the Covenant. So praise Yahweh and praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh for that knowledge.
Yes, sir. Praise Yahweh. I know 144,000. I'm excited to read that one. That title alone, just all the book sounds powerful, but I'm excited to read the others because this one here that we're discussing today was amazing. It was just, like I said, the children loved it. I loved it. So whoever gets it, it's understandable for both young ones and older. The adult learners are a little different. So if I was able to learn and my daughter was able to learn, it's totally for the whole family, and it's just an enjoyable book. So praise Yahweh for that.
Yes, ma'am. Toda. Praise you, Yahweh.
Great, great. So, King Yabez, I also have the book, and I encourage, everyone listening to get this book also. So, King Yabez, I have to go into, what actually inspired you to write this book, and what is the main message you want to convey to your readers?
Yes. Well, the most inspiring thing about it, I thought about our children, which is our future generations. And, our father Yahweh Ben Yahweh introduced us to the Hebrew language, with the book he wrote for us, Introduction to the Hebrew language. So, I thought about our younger generation and next children coming up. And I said, well, we are Hebrews. We here in America, but we speak in English, you know. So at some point in time in history, our children have to learn their language, So that was one of the inspiring things for me to get that out because I was teaching myself to learn the Hebrew words. I think I had got up to the point of learning about 30 words, how to read it in Hebrew, how to write it in Hebrew, and how to pronounce it. But over time, I lost it because we wasn't practicing it and hearing it on a daily basis. So the more you practice it and hear it, you would naturally pick up on it. Just like we familiar with Shalom Aleichem, So just imagine if we expand our other vocabularies, in other words, in the Hebrew language. So that was my inspiration for that. Praise Yahweh.
Absolutely. It's called getting back to your roots and culture. That's wonderful that you were inspired. Yahweh inspired your mind to do this. This was a big undertaking, and it's a beautiful, very informed book. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, praise Yahweh. It was definitely a very, very important book. And for me, I know what I got from the book, but just from the author's mouth, what were you hoping that the impact would be to the audience who read this book? Like, what impact what are you wanting the audience to take away?
Well, the most impact of learning about, first once you learn the knowledge of the Hebrew letters, as our Father Yahweh being always taught us about, learning our name, that's all part of the Hebrew letters, learning the knowledge of it. And the whole key to it of learning after you learn the knowledge is to apply it in your daily life, because these letters carry the power that brings out the character and nature of our Father YAHWEH'S, which we see out in through his creation. So that's the main impactment of it. Learn the knowledge and apply it to your life.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Praise Yahweh.
So that is so awesome, because what we know and what you have in this book is letting others know who desire to learn, who are beginners in wanting to know the Hebrew letters and learning the language, is that this is not just, this is more than just a letter. This is a whole universe in each letter, and it gives its definition is so big that for you to have actually taken it and concise this information into this book. So it's a start, it's a beginner's guide. To have done that, that is just like, wow, thank you for that. Because, you start learning your culture, because we are Hebrew Israelites and we have to return to our roots and our culture. And just to have taken that, Yahweh inspiration to do that, that was huge, huge, huge. So everybody who is on the path to returning to who their original self is, their consciousness, I really definitely encourage to get this book. It's awesome. So,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, we also have well, on the book you have for children, but is it just intended for children? Because like Queen Alice just said, she and her daughter, um, Princess Aliana, they enjoy the book together, and she's learning. So, is it just intended for children, or who will benefit?
Um, yes and no. And the reason why I say that, the yes is because of when we look at it as it concerning the knowledge of the Hebrew letters and just our culture in general, we all are children in the knowledge of Yahweh. So I would say yes, it's designed for children. But
Absolutely, I see your
but
point.
once you look at it on a physical aspect of it, right? I would say no, because for the simple fact of I thought about it when I wrote the book, before we came into the knowledge of YAHWEH'S, Bet Nun Sophie YAHWEH'S, right? When we was going to like kindergartens, you have these little coloring books, and they would have the letter of the alphabets on a big page and a big bold letter, and that was
Right?
kind of what gave me the idea of it. I said, okay, well, I can put it in this form in our Hebrew language, design, targeting our children, which in all, as the parents teaching this knowledge to their children, we all learning as adults as well. So, it's pretty much like a 22 catch. It's a yes and a no. So praise
Mm,
y'all.
great, great answer. Yes, sir.
Praise.
Well,
Yes, praise Yahweh, being Yahweh. I think that I was really excited. Just even the approach to just study my name. It was simple. Like Yahweh Ben Yahweh, he makes things. He has such profound information, such supreme knowledge. But when it's presented to you, sometimes we look at it and it's like, oh my God, we're intimidated to approach it. But with this book, our names are so powerful. We have so much knowledge and so much influence and so much power in our name. But I love the way you formatted this book. Again, like I said, my name, is with an I in. And I love how you broke it down, how you had like the symbol of the I and just saying the scripture that accompanied it. It was just amazing. I loved it. It was simple, but it was also had that powerful impact. So I guess for me, obviously we know that your influence is, the Almighty God, YAHWEH'S, and His most beautiful Son, YAHWEH'S, bathed in Sophie, YAHWEH'S. Who are some of the people that helped along with what was your influences? Who assisted you and supported you throughout and helped throughout this project? Did you have any?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, ma'am. Like I said, basically, it starts with our Father Yahweh Ben Yahweh, because He's the beginning of it. Without Him, I would have never had the inspiration or the knowledge to do so. So, the influence definitely to Him. And also, I had Queen Elisa. She was definitely one of my inspirations of influencing me to, go ahead and pursue it and produce the book. Me and her talked over it. I mean, over the years, I've been knowing Queen Elisa, and she always has been inspiration, when it comes to things like that. So most definitely it was Yahweh Ben Yahweh. I give all credit to him.
Oh wow. That's big, because I give all credit to Yahweh, His Son Yahweh Ben Yahweh, and I thank you for even mentioning me in there, King Yabez, because you are such a solid brother, and just in your work, in your ethics, your um, the way you present everything, and for you to have dedicated this time, because the Hebrew letters is so different from the Hebrew letters. The language is so different from what we knew, and what we use, because learning to use to write even the Hebrew letters, the Hebrew in itself is from, we write from from left to
Right
right,
to left,
but the
right to left.
Hebrew is they yeah, right from right to left, and it's like you having to train your mind all in a whole different direction, because first of all you're changing the way you're writing, and then you're used to 26 letters, and the A is A, but then when you have the Hebrew alphabet, A is not A. Aleph is not just Aleph, it's the whole world. So for again, just thank you for putting this together for us, for the world.
Well,
Yes,
basically,
sir. Go ahead.
yeah, basically, Queen Lisa, it's like you said, it's about learning it and getting yourself familiar with it. Because, like I said previously, um, I had taught myself how to read and write and pronounce over 30 Hebrew words, and that was a big accomplishment for me, you know. But I was doing it and I was taking my time with it. I was going through the process. I would write each word about 20 times until I mastered it, and
Mhm.
as time went on, I wasn't using that language on a daily basis other than what I talk with other brothers and sisters. The common word we would say was like, shalom, shalom alaikum. We know that. So I wanted to push it a little further more, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you don't use it, you will lose it.
You will
And
lose
over
it.
time, that's what happened to me, But it's once you get on that journey, I
Mhm.
mean, you'll be surprised how much you learn. Because I just want to get a quick outside of this topic of learning the language. I came into the knowledge of Yahweh Ben Yahweh when I was incarcerated in prison, and by learning this knowledge, at the time I didn't know the Hebrew prayer. So we finally had a brother that came on the compound. He knew the prayer. And I was so eager and anxious to learn this knowledge because I'm like, oh man, I felt so proud. You know, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I need to learn this language. You know, and y'all was my witness. I learned that prayer within an hour. That brother went out there was on the
Oh,
field
wow.
and he kept going over and over. And within an hour, I learned that whole prayer, the Tefillah. You know,
Oh,
and
wow.
it stuck with me ever since then. So,
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
power is to apply.
Well,
Praise
you
Yahweh.
see, praise Yahweh, the thing is, and praise Yahweh ben Yahweh for bringing us this knowledge and returning this knowledge to us, because what I hear you saying, actually you didn't learn it, you was remembering it because you knew it
Right.
before, but because of the process of, going through slavery and losing our identity, you forgot. All you had to do was
Yes.
remember. So when you started seeing these words again, you were remembering. You were just
Yes.
taking it back to where you once knew this stuff, this language. Yes, sir. So,
Yes, and praise Yahweh. I just want to say, just going back and just reviewing, just the letters, and just to go back to the book again and the letter, or the word hey, in the book you break down the value, and the value we know is number 5, and then you talk about, you go into what hay represents, and it's man, and it's life, and it's the breath of life. So just hearing your story, and just with you utilizing and saying the Hebrew prayer with those letters and those words, it's just like those letters revitalizes us. It's life, the hay that's, Ima said, bring them back to your memory. Just studying, Yud Hey Waf Hey Yahweh, just the letters, and it's the letters of life, the letters of fire, just understanding how hey is that breath, is that life, So thank you so much for breaking it down so to us simply and profoundly all at the same time, because, we need this knowledge, and we need it so that we can be able to know how to represent ourselves. We need it so we could be able to know who we are, remember, so praise Yahweh.
Yes, ma'am. And basically, this book is basically this. It's a basic level of the study of these letters. You
and
know,
you said
it goes deep
just
in depth.
not to interrupt you, but you said basic. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
were saying that you can get real deep with
But
it.
It
but
these
yeah.
letters go very deep.
And the thing is, it goes very deep, but the way that you
Yes.
simplified it though, because even just saying that hay is life, right? And it's the breath of life. And you're saying that this man in an in a raised position with his hand out, putting it to the brain that way, we know that it's so in depth, and but that right there is so simple but profound, because just even understanding that, even with the Yud Hey Waf Hey, understanding that that is the life within us. That is what is imprinted on our DNA. That is our life source. And we are man, we are mind.
Okay.
So it's so
Yes, ma'am.
powerful, but you said it so simply that even the kids could understand.
Right, and that was the whole idea of when you said, well, Pacific group that we was talking, because I didn't want to make it so complex to where an adult couldn't teach their children because they didn't have no understanding of it. So I wanted to put it on the basic form as I could, that where the parent could understood and teach it to their children and learn it as well as they teach their children the letters. So,
Well done. Well
that
done.
was the purpose of it.
Yes,
Praise Yahweh.
very well done.
Great, great. Because we've been, for you know, many, 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 many years, uh, when our father Yahweh ben Yahweh came and he set us on this path. Um, I know a lot of us, a lot of Hebrews, we have a lot of books, notebooks that we have compiled over the years, and it's everywhere. It's like you have a whole stack of books, but when you can go to this one book and you can get, like you said, the basic uh, knowledge, and that will connect you to other, steps to take to connect. Because sometimes you have so many books and you have so many, you can't remember sometimes, well, where did I go do this study? But you compile all of it in one, condensed form. So that was so, you know, needed. It was so needed. And, when you said basic to me, because it just kind of lit my mind up, because each letter has its own sound and numerical value. So that's even another expansion of the Hebrew letters. So it's so vast. And what you have done what you have done to take it and say, "Come on, let's bring it together." You know how when some people kind of go like losing it, and you said, "Bring it together now, get it
All right.
together," and that's what you've done.
Yeah.
You took it and you brought it together to at
Yeah.
least start you to focus on. Okay,
Right.
let's start here. So,
Okay, being that you said that, Queen Elisa, now, and I struggled with that for a while. Like you said, a lot of brothers and sisters that have books written, like you say, notebooks and things, they just need to compile and just put it into one, and put it in book form. And Queen Vashti had wrote a book, um, how to write a book on your name. And when I read that book, that was really what gave me the foundation of how to really put the book together.
right.
How to come praises to, come up with the name of the title of the book, the name the chapters. And then once you name the book and name the chapters and things, it'll flow a lot smoother than versus you just got notes here and there and trying to piece things together, because you'll be there forever trying to,
Forever.
do that. So,
You know
yes.
that was a good that was a I have a that was a good segue for me into the question that I have next for you. How did you approach the writing process, and what challenges did you face along the way? Can you bet?
Okay, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the approach the approach of the process of it, basically, just understanding in this particular book the Hebrew letters, just basically having an understanding of the Hebrew letters and the meanings and symbols of them, all right, and just put it on paper and in the book form, because like I said, I had the idea already, the concept of, as a kindergarten, having the kindergarten books with the different alphabet letters in them, A, B, C, and all that type of stuff. So I took that process and I thought about it. I said, okay, I'll do this with the Hebrew lettering, for our
Mhm.
children and adults as well. So that was the process of me putting it together like that.
Now, were there any challenges that you faced that
Based The challenges were pretty much just basically the having the Hebrew software, because most of everything in this
mm,
country is English. So I
mhm,
was like, man, how do I get the Hebrew letters? So
right.
I found an app that he was able to convert from the English to the Hebrew letters, and that process, one of the ways of how I did it. You know.
Right,
So
right.
praise Yahweh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Praise Yahweh.
Just praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh. I think I had so many questions that I have to ask. One of the things that I was just going to say, just on something that that both Queen Alisa and you, King Yabez, addressed just recently when we were speaking, is, the amount of books and the amount of, things that we have in our collection as Hebrews. We've been studying our names for such a long time. And this is just me complimenting the book again. I love the way, because there are so many different ways that you can approach, studying your name, like the Hebrew letters, the Hebrew numbers. I mean, the numbers that's
Right.
associated with it, the value. I love that in this book. There's a book even now that's, a study that's out there. I think, I might mess it up, but the gematria, right? Where it
Gematria.
had gematria, or see, like I said, I was going to mess it up, but gematria. You get the point of what I was saying. But the gematria, this study breaks down the Hebrew. You have to research, right? You have to go and you have to find the values of the Hebrew numbers, and you have to, be able to put this together with ayin is, represented by 70, and hey represented by 5. I love that. Like I said, this book is so profound because although it's simple, it has so much power because it does have that knowledge that, people are pulling from this way to that way. So you have a lot of knowledge in this book, simply simplified, and it's in this one book. So I recommend it. As a parent, I recommend it as a person studying and approaching their name. This makes it so simple to just be able to, you'll have the value in this book, you'll have the meaning in this book, and you'll have examples, biblical representations of the letters, in the book. So again, I'm just singing praises and like, oh my God, I love this book, and praise Yahweh for, you actually, blessing Yahweh, blessing your mind with this, and how to just bring it to us in all, just from every level. Because if you are studying, you will see how profound it is. But then as a parent or as a child, you'll say, wow, this approach is so simple because I'm able to absorb, my child is able to absorb as well. So I guess my last question I would have for you is, how did you want people to implement your book going forward? Like, what are the takeaways and what are the steps to implementing this book in our daily lives?
Yes, ma'am. Like I say, basically the points of takeaways and implementing is it's basically just learning the knowledge. First of all, you have to come into the knowledge of who you are, and and how does it apply to you? Because also remember, our Father Yahweh Ben Yahweh taught us and said also that it's certain knowledge of the Hebrew, letters and things that he would not teach because the devil was still in power. So, like I say, it's very in depth when it comes to these letters because you're dealing with creation, but the key takeaways, points of, and the implements of it is basically learning the basic knowledge of it. Learning who you are and how to apply it to your name. And also you have to apply this knowledge. After you learn this knowledge, you have to apply it. And once you apply, you will begin to see the power of the letters. And Yahweh Ben Yahweh fulfilled all those letters in his name. Because
Right.
you look at his actions and you go study the name YAHWEH, and you can see where he lived up to that name.
Right.
And like, for instance, in the scriptures, in the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 39, it talks about the having the fringe on our garments, right?
Right.
And what it talks about wearing the fringe was a sign of keeping the law.
Right.
You know, put the fringe on you, and also it means to keep the law. That was the reminder for you to
Right.
apply the law. So same way with the letters. Once you apply those letters, then you would see the power of them.
Right,
Praise
right.
Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. I love it. I love it. I'm just, Sister Queen Elisa, just one more things I just wanted to say, just based on, to touch on, what the King was just saying as far as the implementation. And, for me, my question, just like, how would I apply this to my life? How would I implement this? And you're saying, we have to apply it to our lives. Like what, for me, I'm like, okay, well, what does that look like? And just, for me, I'm passionate about Ayin and, Lamed and Shin, because that's my name, that's who I am. And Ayin is represented by the I. And in your book, you talk about how it is, to watch and to experience and to know, right? And so I'm like, well, how do I put that in my life? And it's just being able to observe, to see, to be able to, yes, sir, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, now I'm glad you asked that question, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's a very profound question. And my answer to that is basically like the answer. I'm gonna give you an example. When you go into the letter U, U is in all 26 Hebrew letters because each Hebrew letter begins at a dot and a period, right? And Yud is in each and every one of those. Now, the word Yud itself means to be a creator, right?
Right,
To produce, you know. So, and you look at the name Israel, which is all of our last name. Israel means to rule as God.
right,
In order to be a ruler and to be a God, you have to understand what a God is. A God is a producer, a
right,
manufacturer, and he create things.
right,
So this is what we have to do. Whatever you creating, you have a product that you create and you produce and you manufacturing, that's all becoming a God. And that's how you apply the knowledge to your name and to your life.
well, all right. Praise God. Well, thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. It's like Queen said, in the book, you have the numerical values of the letters. So, and as she mentioned, gematria. It's when this is a precept right here, and when you start going up those precepts upon precepts, you're going to see that those numbers are not just there for no reason. They're to uncover the secrets of the Torah and the universe. If you learn how to do, because everything, all the letters, remember this is the Torah is a Hebrew book, and when you start applying it in the way it's supposed to be applied, when you understand the meaning, or you can't understand all of the meaning, but when you get the gist of those letters and how they're put together, and you start to use it as a tool, like King Yabez just said, this is where your whole transformation begins. So yes, this is a very powerful tool that we do encourage you to get in your library. You need to have this. Yahweh blessed
Yes,
his mind to sit down. All of the prophets of the Bible, they were inspired. They hooked up to the divine mind, and he's the one who poured in his life into them so they can do what they did and write the books. And this is the same thing happening today. So we just want to say, praise Yahweh in Yahweh for enlightening you, King Yabez, to bring this to us.
praise Yahweh to that Queen. You
Yes,
know, as yeah,
absolutely.
as we sit back and look at Yahweh ben Yahweh, how he extended in the knowledge, right? And you go back and look at throughout his life on a physical level, and how he did his journey, what we call a metamorphosis. You look at he was part of a lot of different things, and he always was a moral person. He went through his metamorphosis, and when he got to that point, when he met that burning the angel at that burning bush, he excelled. And that was
Right,
he was taking on the power of the knowledge of that name. Like once again,
right.
like I say, it's all about the power in the name, and then you have to apply it. And he definitely did that, and the whole world witnessed
Oh,
that
absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
they for years they called him Elon Mitchell. They tried to keep him down,
Mm,
Elon Mitchell, Elon Mitchell. No, he Yahweh
mm,
been Yahweh, so he showed the
absolutely.
power in that name.
Oh, yes. He owned that. He owned that.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that absolutely. And this is what the power of these letters will do.
Yes, ma'am.
They're called letters of fire, just like you said, that burning bush. You took it on like that. That's the letters of fire. I mean, I feel like we have been blessed to read it. And I know Queen Elisa, I believe she's going to ask you this, and I'll hold back off if,
No, go ahead. No,
I
you.
was just gonna say, yeah, I was just gonna say where, because we love it, we are able to experience it. So the audience that's listening today, how are they able to connect with you? How are they able to get this book? How can they get their hands on the copy? Because it's so profound, so wonderful, so well written. If you're studying your name and you're on that path and you want to be able to see, how can they see and how can they experience what we experience?
Currently, Queen Lace is working on the website to get it up and ready for us to put these products and these books online. As soon as she have everything online, the book for the children is ready to go. You know,
Or you can actually reach out to King Yabez. He does have an email address that you can reach him at, though, and you can email him. Let him know that you give him some information where he can contact you. Yes, the website is still, it's coming soon, but you can also reach him at Yabez, Yabez, Ben, Yahweh, at gmail.com. So if you are interested, and I hope the listeners, every one of you are, you can reach out to him at yabezbenyahweh@gmail.com, and you can let him know, give him your information. He will tell you what you need to do so you can get your copy off to you. But the website is very soon coming, and you will be able to order it from the website. It's under construction right now. So, yeah. So, King Yabez, this is such a wonderful, wonderful book, and it's so inspirational, and it's a study tool actually that you can, so I encourage everybody to add to their tools, their study arsenal. And is there any last words that you would like to say?
Well, yes, like I say, this is just a basic introduction of the Hebrew letters. And, like Queen Otis mentioned the previous book. I forgot the name of it, Queen Otis, I'm sorry. But it's give you a basic foundation, how you part of going in and how to learn to apply these letters and, the power that's in them. And as you study your name and take on the characteristics of those letters, you know, it would change your life. It would change your life. It will never be the same. So, and, I give all glory and praises to our Father Yahweh Ben Yahweh for teaching me this and sharing this knowledge, with me in order to, promote his name across the world. This is
Absolutely,
what this is about.
absolutely,
It shows
absolutely.
forth the power of Yahweh Ben Yahweh's divine mind in each and
Mm,
every one of us. Because I was never physical. I never physically met Yahweh Ben Yahweh. I never was physically in his classes. you
mm,
know. So that shows you the spiritual power of his divine mind.
mm,
So
mm.
all glory and praises to him.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, family, this is what we do here on this podcast. We bring you knowledge. We bring you tools that you can use in your daily life to better, and to assist you in your growth. So we want to thank you, King Yabez, for being here with us. And we just want you to, come back. We're here. We are, we do our podcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Please go ahead and share this podcast. And we love you. Yahweh loves you. Yahweh Ben Yahweh loves you. And so do we. Have a
Yes.
wonderful evening.
Shalom Aleichem family and Aniyah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, King.
Oh,
No, I
no,
was going to ask Queen Orlis if she had anything else before we close out.
no, I was just saying the same. My sentiments are the same as Queen Elisa. Praise Yahweh for the book. It's beautiful. It's very, just appreciative that you brought the knowledge to us in such a way that, I'm able to understand. I'm able to explain it well to my kids, to my children. Praise Yahweh. So, as she said, we love you. We thank you. We hope to see you again on the show. And, praise Yahweh for blessing your mind. Praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh.
All
All
praises to the creator
right.
YAHWEH. Shalom family and Aniyah Hov.
Shalom.
Shalom.